You are tuned in to Work at Birch Sessions, coming to you from Work at Birch Studios here in Longmont, Colorado. Our show is dedicated to promote talented musicians and introduce them to our audience. You can subscribe to our YouTube channel below and watch any of the most recent or past episodes. You can like us on Facebook, Instagram, and I do tweet now and again, so you'll see me there. Also, you can become a supporter on my Patreon page, and that helps fund our program here by either contributing per episode or monthly, so please check that out. I'd like to thank our patrons, current patrons, Scott Wright, Cliff Mattis, for their contribution to the program. My name is Christopher Wright, your host, and our videographer is Jesse Albanese from Wild Acorns Media. Also, Coop Studios in Boulder is offering a 30% discount on recording sessions anywhere from recording an EP to full-length album for subscribing to this YouTube channel. Just email info@coopstudios.com. Today, we have Clyde from Clyde and the Milltailers with us today in the studio all the way from Grand Junction. How's it going, Clyde?
It's doing really well. Thanks
Awesome.
for having me.
Yeah, thanks for making the trip and all that. Love doing sound for you guys at the Roost, and it's kind of how we met. And you know,
such a cool little spot over there.
It totally is. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Well, I'm from Grand Junction, Colorado. Started doing this style of music about 4 or 5 years ago. I don't know, right shortly after I started traveling a little bit and like kind of learning from people who were also traveling, like what the cool hip thing was. And it was a lot of, punk and crust metal, and there was bluegrass and like old time in there. And I kind of leaned towards the latter of that style. But just kind of started doing that after I settled down a little bit. I lived in Portland for a while and kind of developed more of a style out there. Got to, meet a lot of other folks that were doing similar things, and such as the whole like folk revival or like folk X, or you call it ragtime.
Sure, yeah.
X grass or whatever. It's not
Awesome.
nothing traditional by any means, I guess.
Love that. Well, cool. Gonna play a couple songs for us today. A few songs.
Yeah, I got this one is a song called The Heratic. It's off a newer EP. So let's say about a year old right now. It's called The Heratic. It's off our EP Root. And
Awesome. The Heratic. This is Clyde from Clyde and the Milltailers from Work at Birch Sessions.
Ropes been laid out, the gallows built in the night, made from pine and cedar, grown from the mountainside. Borrow and let out, ghosts control my hands, set fire to the steeple and turn to the land. By the time I took to run in the air, smelled of smoking death. Hounds howling through the air, the cursed bastards on my breath. They found me at the river, heard the pistol crack. Oh, I saw that water freeze when I heard the sheriff's laugh. Much too long and sore on my back when they take me to the gallows out there behind the church. Keep your pies going to prisons now for all that they're worth. Oh, I'm swinging like an apple in the middle of in the square. 13 nights around my old head. Drum roll, pull the switch, now kick till you're dead. Thank you.
The Heratic.
Yes.
And that's off
Root.
Root.
Yeah, brand new, newish EP.
In the last year?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right on. Loved it.
Yeah, thank you.
That's great. So you play a lot of banjo then?
I do. I try to play more banjo. It's since like playing more with the trio, it kind of lend myself more to playing guitar to fill out this lineup we have of upright bass and mandolin. Banjo kind of just, it doesn't really quite fit with all the time, with the higher register. So
right.
Definitely, try to place it on more like old timey or bluegrassy songs, or have kind of more of the whole picking kind of thing being showcased. But yeah, the guitar just kind of seems to lend itself a little more it's a little more practical, I guess, for the trio.
But right on.
Banjo's fun and it looks cool and people like it and it's incredibly noted. It's hard to ignore banjo.
You're absolutely right. It is totally hard to ignore. One more song, then I'll get to some interview questions for you. Nothing too serious, but get your fans to
get to know the man behind the twang.
Yeah. So, what kind of guitar is that?
This is known as a resophonic.
Resophonic.
They were it's a copy of a company called National, and they made a guitar called it's like a O style, I think is what it is. This is made by Recording King, and they did a really pretty decent job, for being like a little Chinese import. But
it sounds great.
Yeah, you can only sound X amount of good when your guitar is like made out of metal or whatnot. It's like there's definitely like it's like a labor of love getting it to like out to play at shows.
Sure.
Even the nicer ones, like you find these like 1930 like original Nationals, and they're just like buzzing and rattling on it. So they definitely could sound like $1 million with like really, with much less.
Well, cool. Second song here. What do we?
The song's called Heroin Rag, and
Heroin Rag.
Heroin Rag, and it's kind of about a unfortunate situation that a lot of friends in the traveling community have. Yeah, it's about two people I currently aren't with us anymore. Had a lot of good times out in New Orleans. Yeah, it's about that.
Gotcha. All right.
Me now through the street, and I'll lay you down in a field of green. You'll get back up, wanna get back down. Gonna scratch that face into a scowl. Oh, my friend, I wish that we could pick again down on Royal Street. It's heavyweight all on your own. You don't wanna make New Orleans your home. You can pack your bag, can't leave it behind. Gonna take just enough to ease your mind. Oh, my friend, I wish that we could pick again down on Royal Street. I wish that we could pick again down on Royal Street.
It sounds happier than it is.
You know,
I'm sure.
It's kind of the...
It's because it's got that little swing, and it's...
It definitely, it's like I don't know,
song.
rags are kind of have that vibe, It's definitely, it's like a large part of that song is just kind of like my attitude. We were like talking about New Orleans,
Sure.
I'm just like, I'm like head over heels in love with that city, and just like everything that goes in to what makes New Orleans. New Orleans, it's like it wouldn't be... interesting without, maybe like all the deceit, death, and like triumph that people face,
Sure.
Have faced there. It's like dark tourism. That's like a thing. People go out to the Cambodia killing fields and watch it. And that's like something that's incredibly interesting to me for whatever reason. I would love to go out and see those things. And it's like I think about a lot of that stuff and like I write songs. I have a song called Panzeram, who's about a terrible human being, probably one of the worst persons that ever lived back in the 30s, and it's like songs like that are very easy to write,
Interesting.
Yeah. I'm also a big fan of Scorsese movies.
Of course. You had to be. So you spent a lot of time in New Orleans?
A little bit of time, not as much as I would like to. I've tried to get down there at least like once, twice a year.
Sure.
I've spent some time down there in the past, but...
And of course, you bring all your equipment with you.
Oh yeah, all my little bit of twang and boxes and little doodads I have now. It's starting to get a nice little impressive stage setup for what I could like pack in like one of those small Walmart totes, just like, like gear, and it's just starting to like not close properly now. So this kind of lends itself to busking then. It does, it's like that was kind of like first and foremost what I was trying to gear myself towards when I started doing this more often, more professionally, and that was like definitely the first, like one of my first major forms of income besides like, washing dishes or
Sure, yeah.
It was like, okay, I guess I'll just sit out on the street for an entire day and I'll do 8 hours and I'll get the same amount, and then started being more and more like 2 hours, and I could go to a place like Boulder and it's like, oh, I only have to be out here for like an hour and I'm set. I get all the awesome Chinese food I could eat afterwards.
That's great.
On Pearl Street. Yeah, no, it's definitely like trying to like kind of maintain like the instrument choices, like everything. Like I could, I got this thing originally to be louder and different on the street, and now it's just kind of like formed itself where it's like now I need DIs and compression pedals and like all these things for the different environment.
For
and
sure.
It's it's like I go out into the street and it's just incredibly simple. It's like straightforward. I could play the same song for hours and get really good at it.
Yeah, exactly.
Get called out by the one person that walks by.
Hey, you've been playing that song? Well, cool, man. So you're from Grand Junction.
Yeah.
Tell me about the rest of the group that wasn't able to make it.
Yeah. So Dave plays with a band, an amazing bluegrass band that's been in the Grand Junction area, kind of like being like one of the only like bluegrass bands holding it down. They're Straygrass, and they're phenomenal. They play amazing, put on an amazing show.
Cool.
And then Misty, our mandolin player, is also a phenomenal musician, classically trained. She's absurdly knowledgeable of the mandolin and theory and jazz music in general, which is like that's an incredibly useful thing to have someone who's like as big of a jazz head, and
Especially with his style, right?
yeah, you know, this
I mean,
is
it's
just
great.
like so derived from it. There's so much from like, you know, the old ragtime swing, like pre-war jazz, and that's like her like bread and butter, and she's like amazing at it. She adds such a great style to the band, and it's like it's like really like her and Dave, like I don't know, I look at them as like these like uber drummers, you know? And it's like
Right.
they like keep me in place when I go out of time and go out on a tangent. And I'll get like incredibly in my own world. I'll like close my eyes and like sometimes hit my face on a microphone if I'm like really into it. But yeah, having them there really helps a lot, like
That's
keeping
great.
the show on track or keeping me on track.
Very cool. Yeah, you got to have those people, right?
Yeah,
I
you
feel
know,
like-
they're vital to what I
Yeah.
try to do when I try to do a trio show. And this is fun too. This is definitely like works, and I have a lot of fun playing this, and it kind of like almost like forms into two different attitudes I take towards when I'm playing. I have to be a lot more aware of my surroundings when I'm doing this.
Sure. I bet.
Yeah.
You kind of like, it's just you. You're
Yeah.
you know.
When
I
it's
can
like,
imagine.
and like back to busking, you know, I used to just like do this for hours, and I would just kind of zone out. It would be like, I'd get like, God, like 3-4 hours at a time, like busking at any spot. And it's like, I would kind of like zone out, close my eyes, and I'd open. I was like, oh no, there's people watching me.
Right.
What happened? It was like a quick 10 minutes. Yeah.
Very cool. So, Grand Junction, how often do you make it up to like Boulder County, and do you,
like,
do you play
fun-
in Denver at all?
Yeah, and I don't play Denver a lot, but I just played a show last night at Seven Circle, and
I know that place.
yeah, it's an amazing venue.
Federal?
Say what?
South
Yeah,
Federal?
yeah, right off. Yeah, Seventh Federal, I think.
Got some friends. My buddy, I probably did sound over there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's such a cool little spot. Got to play with a band called Crow Cavalier. Probably pronouncing that wrong.
Nice.
Yeah, they're
Similar styles.
Yeah, and they're almost like a punk rock band. They really are a punk rock band, but their lineup consists of like cellos and violins and trombones, upright bass and banjo.
Awesome.
They're amazing. They're definitely
Love
another
that.
band like
Should check it out.
look out for.
I will. So what got you into this style of music? It's kind of like
it was
like 30s kind of.
You know,
whatever. I
it's,
don't know. Even
seriously, the traveling community, when I met of like people that were also hitchhiking. It was generally the folks that were like train hopping, and I would meet a lot of them at like collective houses. Like there's a collective house in Eugene, Oregon called the Campbell Club, and it's like a huge sorority house or like fraternity house that some like punks and hippies got a hold of and turned into this like awesome spot. It almost reminds me of Animal House, like, but with like organization to it. They're odd. Those kids are great too, and they do awesome shows there. Got to play a show out there on this last tour I did out west, and yeah, and I met a lot of people at that specific house when I was passing through traveling. I'd always stop there because it was like I could do dishes and have a couch to sleep, and no one cared. And
Right.
there was always like free like bagels somewhere nearby. You know, dude, it was like a lot of the people that have that same affinity with the old, like, you know, train riding, romanticization and all that. Like
it is.
yeah, a lot of them
seems romantic, doesn't it? Yeah, absolutely.
It's a lot more romantic than it is. It's what little I have done of like that lifestyle was definitely like I definitely chose music over it. You know,
Right.
like it's like I'll just write songs about it and be a total poser and just whatever, but like it's still cool. It's still something that like I myself, you know.
But it seems like you get around a bit.
Yeah, I do, you know, and it's like, yeah, kind of just that's how I justify. It's like, oh, I still travel, just, you know, I go through Delta now and again,
Right.
to, like pay for a ticket and don't get a beautiful view of some mountainside that I'm not supposed to be on right now.
Right.
But you know, it's yeah, a lot of that like was still really there's a really there's a culture of preservation in that community that a lot of I don't really see that in a lot, you know. There's like, you know, in the punk community or like the rock community, there's people that, you know, you can listen to the old bands, you know, but a lot of those kids like that are traveling on there, they'll like, you know, they play old songs, they have old violins, you know, or
Right.
they know their history about like the railways and like the line of what makes these things, like certain songs, like they could tell you everything about like the history of it. And it's like that's what I really found interesting, especially
That is
in, like,
very
this,
interesting.
like kind of newer generation of a subculture that's been around for like, God, like almost like 100 years now, since like the 1930s or like, Dust Bowl era times. It's really good feeling to know that, it's like that community is kind of still retained itself. There's still people that are like booking shows for people that, like out east that, had booked Pete Seeger or like, are still maintaining these venues out that way. And,
That's
just like as a whole, in the culture of like old time and this music, it's really
I really
cool.
dig the culture for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
I do too.
And the music, especially the music.
That's cool too.
That's the best part. So you have some upcoming shows, albums. Let's talk about some of your albums.
Yeah, well, I got 2 out right now.
Okay.
Got the full length, which is our first one we recorded like 2.5 years ago. It's got a lot of songs that I wrote like kind of while traveling. That was like the last like maybe 4 or 5 years kind of led up to that album. And then this new EP that I had, I had about a year's time to compile and update some new stuff. So I'm giving some time on this next one, but I'm planning to call it Foklore. And it's kind of like not so much like a concept. I wouldn't call it a concept album, rather than just like a habit that I write a lot about folklore.
Right.
And a lot of the songs are like, kind of just about like, I do research on like Russian folklore, and like I'm a huge fan of Lore, the podcast, and like I've drawn from that specific podcast as well, and stories of things I write about. But yeah, it's going to be called Foklore.
What was the first album called? Root?
Oh, first album is just a self-titled. The next one, the EP we have is it's like a 5-song EP called Root. That one was just kind of, I really put that one out just trying to like, maintain, just having something to like put out.
Sure.
It wasn't really a rush job. I'm incredibly pleased with it, and like I try to sell that one over the other one, even though it's shorter. But
well, an EP, people to listen to a whole album these days.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But 5 is like, boom, okay, perfect.
Right.
That's great.
It's just like, it's like when people buy CDs, it's
an easier sell or something.
It's an easier sell, and it's like it's an almost guarantee they're going to listen to it in their car. And when you hear like the same 5 songs in your car, driving down around, it doesn't get you as far. So I'm trying to like.
Well, I listened to it. I listened to it after I did Sound for You at the Roost. I always put it right in on the way home. I'm like, this sounds great, man.
I'm glad.
It sounds awesome.
It is. It's just like the length of it is the only thing that I'm concerned about that. But I don't know. It's like EP is like that kind of disclaimer of it,
Yep.
But this next one hopefully will be a little bit longer. I'm shooting for like around like 12, 13 songs. I got like 6 written up right now. One of them, Heroin Rag, is gonna hopefully be on that one.
I hope so. That's a great song, man.
Yeah,
that's a great song.
Thank you.
So, So you had mentioned briefly before we started about going on tour.
Yeah. I'm gonna be. I got 2 upcoming tours. I'm gonna be hopping on with the Bridge City Sinners. They're a band from Portland, Oregon, that are doing very, very, very well. And there's some
full band or just yourself.
It's just gonna be myself. I have a hard time. It's really hard getting the trio out for tours and convincing my band members to just. Not worry about their job or children, they'll be fine. Just the TV on and, call in sick.
That is tough. Yeah.
So that is frustrating, but it's.
But you got a full band right here, right?
Yeah, it's like I could do the job. Yeah, I could convey what I'm trying to like get across.
I think you're doing a great job, man.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. We do have time for one more.
Ooh, putting me on the spot. All right, let's see. How about I'll do it's I guess the self-titled version of that song, Foklore. Just a little bit different than I would be. It's a great example of changing it up.
Nice.
All right. demon's house and lived on one foot. Till the sickness stretched its hands out from under the tree line. Oh, fire spread through town, everyone's lost their mind. Still I wonder, where do we all go? How many bones can the earth hold? Is it our grave or is it our home? Cast a larger shadow than mine. Oh, his pockets ring just a little bit louder than mine. Oh, he says we're all just waiting for the same ride. No first class, no coach, and we all pay the same price. Still I wonder, where do we all go? How many bones can the earth hold? Is it our grave or is it our home? Wash the night from underneath of the trees. I could hear the drums from hell and all the dancing of the feet. What I saw there next made me reach for my knife. Made my eyes seem 6 feet through my skull, took the body from my life. Still I wonder, where do we all go? How many bones can the earth hold? Is it our grave or is it our home?
Very nice.
Thank you.
I like the feel of that one.
Yeah, I've been watching a lot of zombie movies lately, and that's kind of, there's like that song, and there's this other one I have, I'm writing, it kind of has like, you know, it's like the image in my mind of a zombie kind of like stumbling for like, dun, dun.
Right. Awesome. Well, very nice. I think that's a great way to end the show.
Awesome.
I'd like to thank Clyde from Clyde and the Milltailers for coming all the way from Grand Junction, be with us.
Yeah, thank you again for having me.
Appreciate it, man. Next time we'll hopefully maybe we can get the full group in here. Traveling
make
through.
that work at some point.
Can't wait to work with you guys again at the Roost for sure. So If you like our episodes, please help support the program by becoming a patron of our Patreon page. It's patreon.com/WorkAtBirdStudios. You can also subscribe to our YouTube channel by clicking the subscribe button below this video. I'd like to thank Jesse Albanese from Wild Acorns Media for our video production on these sessions. Also, remember, musicians can get 30% off recording sessions at Coop Studios in Boulder. Just email info@coopstudios.com. For more information on Clyde and the Milltailers, where can people find you?
ClydeandtheMilltailers.com.
ClydeandtheMilltailers.com.
Facebook, you can find us on Spotify, Instagram, at Milltailers Music.
At Milltailers on Twitter, yeah,
Yeah.
cool. I'll put all that information on the
Sweet.
YouTube link for this channel, for this episode. Lastly, I'd like to thank Jim Krasaniak and Eric Singer and all the staff at Coop Studios for all their help producing and professional guidance for Worker Bird sessions. And, of course, our Patreon supporters, Cliff Mattis, Scott Wright, Lauren Wright, Jenny Wright, Daniel Ellis. Couldn't have done it without you guys. Thanks so much. And any last shout-out for up-and-coming gigs that you'd like to promote?
Not off the top of my head.
Okay, all right. Look for you on tour and all that.
Yeah, oh yeah, I'll be out west in June and then out east here in July and part of August.
Very cool.
A lot of dates on it that my brain can't quite spit out just yet.
No worries, no worries. Awesome. Well, thank you once again. It was very much a pleasure, man. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Have a great day. Spring is here. Enjoy yourself outside. And thank you again from Work at Bird Studios here in Longmont. Go check out Clyde and the Milltailers. Everyone have a great day. And the end. The end.